Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of the DGNFOG community stream, our weekly stream where we talk about news and updates in regards to DGNFOG, the online battle map editor. If you're looking for more news on Project Deus, keep an eye out for our monthly developer updates for Project Deus, mapping it out. You can find them on our Kickstarter updates and here on YouTube in the YouTube playlist, mapping it out. Today, we're talking about the new version, the new update that we have released today, um, and which is version 5.5 for the online battle map editor. And it is our map decoration update. So you remember that well, I wish I would remember. I believe last week or 2 weeks ago, we've released our text tool for the Battlemap editor. And now we have kind of finished that off with the map decorations that we have quite recently released. But before we're going to look into what is coming in today's show, let's first tackle the following. If you have a question to me, don't forget to type question in front of it so I can see it in chat. We are going to talk about the update today. We're also going to talk about the voting results from our roadmap survey, because if you remember, we posted our roadmap early February, and we've asked you to help us decide what is in like for you a priority. What should we tackle first? And the voting was going on until the end of February, and I believe February the 26th was when we closed it. And we've got quite a lot of results there, and we are going to look at how this is going to impact our roadmap. And last but not least, we are also going to talk about the next contest that is now upcoming. So we're preparing the contest right now, and we will release and announce the new contest next week. But I will give you a little heads up on what this is going to be at the end of our community stream. Okay, without any further ado, let's jump directly into our update version 5.5. Let me switch screens here. So, I've prepped a little map for today, and it is basically showing everything what happened in February. So we have the new Dwarven pack released in your settings under flavor. You can find the new Dwarven pack, which has this amazing new textures. It has those glowing textures, it has those glowing elements, assets, statues, forges, tombs, name it, you will find it there. It is quite amazing. We've also experimented with a new thing that we're calling the door overlays, so things that you can put on top of doors. And then I added the text. So I've played around with the text tool, and I have added descriptive text for the room, for the whole map, and then I have used the new features that have found into DGNFOG today, which are the decorative elements. So what we can see here, let me scroll a little bit. What we can see here is I have created two layers, a decoration layer and my regular map layer. The map layer is basically as we are used to work with it. You can select, you can draw, you can edit your rooms. What you can do is when you select a room, let me select one here, you will see that we have now split the the room number and the room description into two separate descriptive texts here, which are called label and room. So I can label this, for example, like I did here, number 2, King's Rest, Or I could do it like this. I could go in there and say, this is just number 2, and the room name is King's Rest, so this is an internal information. Hi Ben, welcome back. You can take this room information and drag it wherever you like. But this is associated to this room, and you can then decide on export whether or not you want to show that. We're going to look at that in a minute. The important thing is that you can do whatever you like in here, and you have now several options. Like, for example, you can pick, okay, if that is empty, you don't have those options. The second you paste it in here, you will see that you will get label options for your label. So I have picked a font family, and we have now implemented all the fonts that you have voted upon. So we are having a lot of new fonts in here that you can use. I use the Viking Norse here, which only offers one font variant. And then I've picked the text color and the background color to make this little label fit my map. Selecting it, moving it around, and I am very happy with this. The cool thing about that is when you label your rooms, it will not only help you stay organized in your layers list, but it will also allow you to create this little element here. So here, this is just a decorative element that I have placed behind my map. But this here, if I ever, yes, but this here is my text tool. And what I can do in here is I can, if I clear that out, I can go in and I can collect all text map decoration. I don't have any text map decoration here, but I have all room names that I can collect. And if I click that, you will get a list. Apparently, there are a lot of unnamed rooms here. For example, number 1, Groundius Honor, is technically a labeled room with no room name description there. But that's perfectly fine, because now I can go in and edit that. So I can, with a simple click, I can collect Throne Room Center. This one had a name. I can collect all the relevant rooms, and then I can start styling them and placing them wherever I like. So this is, I feel, a very convenient thing. If you have a lot of rooms, if you've properly labeled them, if you've given them internal descriptions or internal notes, whatever you did with those 2 fields up there, this will be collected in your map legend, for example. Okay, so the next thing is the room decoration objects. Now I can do 2 things. I can either, if I go into my prop list, you will find that there is a new tab that's called Map Decoration. And Map Decoration offers you different things that you can use to decorate your map, not necessarily for the purpose of playing on that map, more for the purpose of presenting that map in a specific way. So for example, I have, let's look at the corners later, I have some decorative elements that I can use. So let's just pick one. Let's use this one. It's dark at the moment, so it's not going to be very helpful, but we're going to change that in a minute. Let me light this up for you. So this is one of the decorative elements that you have. And here you see that there is a new switch, which is called Map Decoration. And this has some effects to how you're treating this object. It is kind of pushed into a separate above wall list, which means in the priority of things to render, map decoration is always very high on top. Also, it is, as a map decoration element, not affected by lighting. So it is really something that you just use to decorate the map because you want to export a specifically styled image for your PDF, for your player's handout, not specifically to play on that map on a VTT, for example. And we can do this with everything. So I could go in there and I could go and say, okay, from my new flavor dwarfs thing, I would like to use the glowing sigil, and I will blow it up a little bit, and I will place it, let's say it's sitting here, and it is a map decoration. If I turn that off, it will automatically be pushed back because now it's not a map decoration element. If I turn it on, it will be pushed to the front, and I can use every object. If you find a dragon, if you find a sword, if you find eggs, whatever you like, if you want to create something like a border around your map or something to decorate the map, you can use that. And we thought that it might be nice to have something like paper effects that you could place there. Sorry, I need to go into my map decoration. And here we have corners. And if you look at that one, if you place it in one of the corners, it has this little effect as if the map was ripped and is now lying on a wooden table, for example. It's our first iteration, it's the first thing we've released, and I'm pretty sure that when you start playing around with it, you will come up with great ideas how to use that, and also a lot of requests that you're going to throw at us where you say, oh, we would like to see this decoration element or that decoration element. And we're going to now, over the course of this year and the future, especially with the marketplace coming up very soon, there will be a lot more decorational elements available soon. So just to look at what we have right now, let me just quickly go through that. So we have the same ripped corner on stone. We also have it on, let me make that a little bit bigger. We have that with paper. A version of that, just the tier without the wood would be nice. Well, I heard you. We've thought about that as well because you can have two different things here. We can have the ripped corner on something like a cloth texture. And now the cool thing about that is that you can freely colorize that. It is not going like, I paid specifically attention to the fact that that the ripped part is black and white and you can only color this. So I can make this whatever I like. But because I know you, we have also added something that we're calling a corner mask. So when you're going to place this, you will notice that there is no drop shadow here. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. That there is no drop shadow. There is a drop shadow in here, so the inner part still has all the shadow. It's hard to see right now because we're using a dark map here. If I would make this floor much lighter, you would see that the whole shadow effect is in there. But this with the black outline is perfect to export this image and then use Affinity or GIMP or Photoshop or whatever you like to just select this. It's basically green screening. So you can select this and you can then add it to whatever surface you like yourself or just on a blank map or on a blank piece of paper. So you can style it yourself. Making it transparent is not possible because that part is actually, the whole thing is being exported. And if you look at that, it's turned around because we don't know what you're placing here, if that is grass or parchment or whatever. I don't know what is on this part of the map. So the paper side is transparent, so it adds to your map. whereas the other part is then the styling. And if we would just hand out this rip, it would be rather useless. That's true. If you would just have the rip, you could technically use a shape tool to fill it. So I'm happy with the feedback. I will give you the rip as well, which will then have the drop shadow, like the paper drop shadow on the one side and the inner curl shadow of the ripped paper on the inner side. Perfectly fine. I have it prepped, so don't worry. What else? Well, for the rest of it, let me show you another trick that we have implemented. So let me get rid of those things, because right now what we're doing is we're placing all those decorational elements on the same kind of level that we've created the map for. And when I was testing it, when we were playing around with it, yes, it's magic. I realized that there could be a very easy way to toggle that, and that is when you create a new level. Here you go. So let me hide the other level. When you're creating a new level and you're just placing your decorative elements on that new level, you can have them all in one place and you're not kind of messing with them while working on the actual map that you're working. So as you can see, this is my decoration level, and this is the map I've been working on. Now, I just placed this here because I wanted to show you how the room labels are being displayed or are being converted into this text element. Once I have that, I can easily take the whole thing, given that I would have grouped it. I already have. So if I, let me see, well, almost. I've created a group, but then I didn't add it in there. So if I take that and duplicate it onto my decoration level, let me save. I think there was, let me just quickly reload. It is now on the decoration level, but now it's not sitting behind the map anymore, because that wouldn't be possible if I'm moving it to a separate level, which is fine. I could also go in there and say, let's make this a little bit bigger, and let's rotate this a little bit and do something like that. And if I go back down here, I can now delete that. So now this would be really just the map. And if I go to decorations, I have everything I need for the map presentation here. And for those of you who are battle-tested DGNFOG users, you will be screaming and saying, hey, wait, but if I make a transparent level above a separate level, you're darkening my map down there. Yes, we did. No, we don't anymore. You now have a toggle for that. So you can now decide whether or not you want to have this darkening effect on the levels below, which is not only useful for decorational elements, but it is also very useful for creating multi-level buildings where you just want the map beneath not to be darkened by our level darkening mechanic that we had in there before. Too slow, Larsus. I was already talking about that. So another nice thing. You're welcome. Amazing. I'm happy. I'm always happy when I see messages like that. So another nice thing that we have is if we go into our rooms here, for example, this one, it's heavily decorated and there are a lot of things in there. And we've improved just a tiny little bit the way that we're displaying that in the layers view, but it's so incredibly helpful. Look what happens if I go into the content here. As you can see, every layer entry now shows the icon of what is being displayed here. So, for example, if I go in there and I go into content, I can see that there is a brush in there. I can see that I've used a shape in there, another shape, and a lot of props. If I would, for some reason, say that this little rune set here on the floor is a map decoration element, we would see that it gets a little map decoration icon. Let me undo that. No, you're not a map decoration. So it's updated again. It is a chair. And that goes for everything. Like the main important thing, let's add a text in here. So there is something written in Dwarvish here. You will see that it has the text label. It still hasn't, you still have to name it. We're going to update that eventually. It didn't make it into the current patch, to just at least take the first 10 characters and put them there. But this would be like a poem, or let's say floor poem. And we make it, oops, sorry, what did I do? We make it a little smaller, 16. That's very small. That's okay, probably. And floor poem, I think my glowing stone floor for some reason is above walls. We don't need that. So that little floor poem is sitting here, and we might want to make it, I don't know if we can darken. You're not seeing it when it's darkened. But we could do something like that. So now this becomes part of, now the text has become part of your map, and is not a decorational element anymore. It is something that the players would see if they would walk through those halls of the King's Rest. And there you go. So this is this was the little icons that you can see in your layers list now. They are very helpful. I love them already very much. We have the map decoration toggle. And talking about the map decoration toggle, let me quickly save here. This also impacts the way you want to export your map. So if I go to export, you will see that if I have the decoration level, because I've put them on a separate decoration level, I can now switch between, do I just want to export the map or the decoration level? But even if you've put everything on the same level, which we probably should do just for the purpose of showcasing it, let me add a plaque here. Let's do a stone plaque here. Okay, and add text on top of it. And now this is boring. Rest in peace, old king. Okay, we might need to make it like that. Sorry, I should have edited it. Rest in peace, old king. And you are a map decoration, so we're pushing it to front. Now we're giving this maybe something like a dark bluish, grayish, something like that, very dark. Desaturated a little bit more. And let's make it bigger, 50. Now it's hard to read right now, which is fine because we're going to add a border here and reduce the thickness of the border a little bit. We can play around with that. That's fine. So this is a map decoration element and this is a map decoration element. Now, if we want to export it, and let's look at that one. We now have a few new options here. For example, show map decorations. If you turn that off, the export will not add this map decoration to the image that the exporter is creating. Show GM information will add the room information to everything. Show tokens, we don't have tokens right now, will add tokens, and show light now lets you toggle whether or not you want to export the lighting version of the map or a version without lighting on the map. So we've just kind of gone through the things that you've requested frequently and that were thrown at us at feature requests, and we have added them now. So now you have a lot more viewing options here in the exporter. All right. Now, because if you look at that, just to show you, this is the changelog for the recent update. There is so much in there. I will not tackle all of this, or we will be sitting here about 2 hours, 3 hours today. Thank you, Lasses. You can just go and read the patch notes. There are still some cool things in there. One of which to name or to highlight is, for a long time you have been requesting that when you create campaign maps, you would like to convert them back to regular maps. That is in there now. So you now have the option, if you accidentally created a campaign map and started to work in the campaign map, and you then realize that your original map is not as good as the campaign map, you can just take the campaign map and create out of this map an original map back in your editor, back in your My Map section. So that is one of the cool things that are in there. We have added 12 additional fonts. What else? You can now, we've done the legend tool. We've talked about that. Darken stage, port map campaigns, tokens can now use non-integer sizes. Layer panels now display an icon. We've seen that. Shapes and brushes will now displaying the corresponding color name or texture name in the layers panel. There are a lot of bugs that we fixed, and there is one known issue. The toggle for making things a map decorational element has not found its way into the asset manager yet, but we're aware of this and we will add this with the next patch. So let me just quickly browse it. Selection now prioritizes. Yes, we've reworked our selection tool a little bit. So when you go in and you select, you will see that it should be more responsive to what you're selecting. So first, you're sorry, I'm already in the room. So in the room, what am I selecting here? Oh, that's my puddle of blood. Right, where is it? Puddle of blood, there. Let's lock it, so I'm not going to select it anymore. When you select the room, when you select something, you will always select the room first, and then you will start to select the elements in there, and pressing the Alt key will allow you to cycle through stacked objects. So you can go in and say, oh, I didn't want to select the King's Tomb, I wanted to select the socket beneath it. Oh, I didn't want to select the glowing socket, I wanted to select the base socket. So the Alt key allows you to cycle through things, and as long as you are in the room, we will prioritize things that are in the same room as the last selected object. So if I want to select this dwarven statue, I will first select the room, and my next click will then cycle through things. In that case, it will again cycle through the puddle of blood here because it was on the highest priority. Now I can see I have selected the group in here, and now I have selected the statue. So it's more intuitive to select things. And then what else was there when using alt click? Yeah, we talked about that. Selection of stacked objects. Yes, perfect. Scale and rotation fields now require you to press enter upon manual. Yeah, there was a little bit of inconsistency in there. Sometimes you could enter into a field and the value would adjust automatically, and sometimes you would have to press enter. We've kind of unified this now through all fields, and the general rule is if you apply a value, press enter, and then the value is really set. Right. Are there any questions in regards to the new update? Otherwise, I will slowly transition now over to the voting results. Okay, while you are thinking about possible questions, I will quickly clean up my map, and because I like it, it's a beautiful map. I will leave that. That was cool. I should, however, write a poem in there. Okay, I think that was at minus 60. There you go. Save. Let me see. Did I do anything to my decorations that I want to undo? No, I'm fine with that. So, right. Regarding decorations, look at that. This is also beautiful. We have a lot of nice compass roses in here. So this is just one, and you will see that in the section compass roses, you will find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different versions of compass roses, where some of them are looking like this. Then we have a little wooden one. Let's put it next to the wood here. That looks like a little devil. A very classical one on wood, and the same in black and white as a transparent version, so you can just recolor it and place it wherever you like. How much does Dungeon Fog currently cost? So the online battle map editor is based on a subscription that is running at $4.90 per month, or $49.90, I believe, on an annual subscription. You can also, if you don't like to subscribe on an auto renewal subscription, there are the on-demand codes, which are a little bit more expensive. I don't know from scratch what their pricing is, but I feel it's acceptable. Where you can just like a prepaid card, where you can buy a prepaid month or 3 month or 6 month of Dungeon Fog Premium access, and yeah, I think that answers the question. And Lars has already posted the link to our pricing page. Thank you very much. So there you see. Okay, and we also have the distance meters, and I feel like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the second you will put your hands on that, you will come back and say, and I want this and I want that, and we know we're going to add it, but I feel we have quite a nice base established of what tools you could use for map decoration. Yes, thank you, Bodhi. Apparently, there's also a free tier, so you can use Dungeon Fog for free. You just need to create an account. There's no credit card required. And from functionality-wise, it's almost all functionalities are available for free users. Mainly the assets are restricted. So there are some free assets and a lot of premium assets. You can still use all the assets, but they are watermarked. And once you convert to a premium account, the watermarks will be removed, so you could still use the maps that you've created while testing the free account. Okay. Moving on. Let me do this here, and probably let's go into presentation mode. That would be nicer to look at. So, early last month, we've released the Dungeon Fog roadmap which means the roadmap for the online battle map editor. There was a little bit of confusion there when we said it's the DGNFOG roadmap. And people were like, oh, you're talking about DGNFOG, the company. And we're like, damn it, we should really get used to calling it the online battle map editor survey. Because DGNFOG as a company has the online battle map editor, and it has the Project Deus development, which is the world map, city map, space map desktop application. That will then also include the the battle map editor. So there was a little bit of confusion there, but this roadmap is our roadmap for the battle map, online battle map development, whereas the Deus roadmap that has been released on our Kickstarter page is for the Project Deus. Sorry, I got confused. Because now I'm not seeing the questions anymore. Let me just quickly shift things around. So this was the roadmap. And we said, okay, in the first quarter, we want to achieve a few things that we don't really put out for voting, where it's basically, it was my call to say, okay, we need to finish this and we need to finish that. So we for this quarter now, we've created our internal roadmap of things that we want to tackle, and we're almost done with it. VTT exporter is, our export format is there. So for Foundry VTT, it is already available. Mooman created an importer script that is a plugin available for Foundry. It's called Universal VTT Importer. And you can import DGNFOG maps directly into Foundry. And now we're going to expand on that format, and we will reach out to developers to help us write the according importer scripts or importer plugins for the other applications, like for Fantasy Grounds or Roll20, Astral Tabletop. What else? I can't think of anything else. The campaign updates. Well, we did a few campaign updates. We're not nearly finished with everything on the campaign side, which is the Fog of War playable version. But the biggest requirement from you was that you would like to allow your players to move their tokens, and that has been implemented along with some other cool features that makes your life as a GM easier when running campaigns. We've now added another little detail, as I previously mentioned. When you're having campaign maps and you've changed them inside the campaign, you can now convert that map back into an original map, which was also requested quite a few times. The GM's nodes rework is still open, so we haven't touched that one yet, but we believe that we might be able to start with it in March and hopefully then end it in April or May. The text tool, check, we've done that. And the room templates, one of the biggest things that I'm waiting for, will be, we've just started working on it, and I hope that it is going to be finished by the end of this month. So this will be another release that we're going to release in March, hopefully. What are the room templates? Just quickly for those of you who don't know what they are, you can select any room. Let me just go back to where I want to be. So you could select a room in here. Oh, I'm on the wrong level here. And you would have a button that says save this as a room template. And it will be on a global library for you, your personal global library. There will be now a room template. So when you're creating a new map, you don't have to draw that room anymore. You just go to your room library and click and drop it onto your map. So it basically means that you can use rooms or room groups to copy across several maps. And I think this is a very, very powerful feature. and I can't wait to see it implemented, because I believe this is another game changer for DGNFOG, that will be very exciting, and we will see once it's out there how helpful it is really going to be. But my hopes are, or my expectations are, that this is going to be a big one. Okay. However, Marketplace is on track. We have already started internal testing with Marketplace. I've collected the first feedback. We're refining it. So by the end of March, the Marketplace will go into public beta, which means that you will be available to purchase assets in the beta exclusively from Keora, because I've asked Keora to be our kind of guinea pig for testing the Marketplace. And once we have verified that it is working on the beta scale, we will then invite more artists and we will make it like bigger. So Blue Sky, you're asking that if you have hundreds of assets from artists, you can import them into DGNFOG. There is a cloud limit. I don't know from the top of my head, maybe Larsis knows. I believe for premium it is a gigabyte, but for a free user it is limited to 25 megabytes. Right, Marketplace. Performance and internal improvements are continuously happening. And so we asked you, what is upcoming? We had several ideas and we wanted to know what you would like to see next. And we gave you 3 options on tools and like 1 control option that I've added into the survey. That was quite a surprise. We will see in a second. I wanted to know whether or not you want to see us working next on the campaigns UI rework, meaning that running campaigns on the DGNFOG viewers would get an improved UI, and we would spend our next quarter just working on the UI. Or do you want to see us do a new tool which is called walls and paths, a way to draw dynamic walls or dynamic paths, and that is, I believe, also quite a helpful tool, especially if you want to create railways or I don't know what else, roads, single walls, paths, like walk paths. So that was another idea that what we could tackle next. And then there was the room rework, because right now, if you want to create a room, it's great. I believe it is still one of the fastest ways to create a room, but there are faster ways if you want to draw circular rooms, if you want to freehand draw caves. With our shapes tool and our brushes tool now being tested for almost half a year, we are confident that we can convert this mechanic into a room mechanic as well. And so we offered you the idea of reworking our rooms tool. Now, we've put this to a vote. The survey was running for almost a month, 3 weeks. And we have closed the survey last week on Friday, and we now have the results. And I feel like they are very interesting. So let's have a look at this. The question was structured in a way that we said, what do you want us to tackle first, second, and third? And this is what you have said. Oh, sorry, I'm sitting in front of the number here. And this is what you have said you want us to tackle first. With 32%, you want us to tackle the walls and paths tool next, followed by performance improvements and the room rework. And last on the vote would be the campaigns UI rework. Now, an interesting thing here is, when I've put out this vote, this survey, we didn't realize that people were still kind of confusing the online battle map editor with Deus. I've seen a lot, I would say about 10% of the voting from people that voted. They, in the feedback, they were writing about Project Deus. And if we look at that, we will see how it's distributed amongst the first, second, and third place. And we will see that if we create scores, still with the highest score, the walls and paths tool is leading. So we're definitely going to do, right after we have done the GM nodes update, we will tackle the walls and paths tool. And hi AK. And then distributed amongst the what should we do second, what should we do third, you then voted basically on an equal score between the new tool, the room rework tool, and the performance improvements. Now here's an interesting part. We're doing constant performance improvements through every iteration and every release that we put out. We do performance improvements and we're testing the tools to see if they work properly in the browsers and if they are kind of up to our expectations and up to our quality assurance, where we say, okay, this is working fine, we can release this. So asking for performance improvements was kind of a control question I put in there to see how happy are you generally with the performance of DGNFOG. And to be perfectly frank, I didn't expect this to be such a high voting point for many of you, that you said, oh, we don't need more tools, just do performance improvements there. So we've taken that, we're listening to you, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the walls and the paths tool next. Then we will do an iteration, as just like the regular performance improvement cycle on that, before we then add the room rework tool. But after the room rework tool, we will then dedicate, just as a specific work package, we will dedicate time to research and see how we can even further improve performance and stability for big maps. Because the problem that, like when I was reading the feedback on the survey, I saw that when you are complaining about performance issues, you're mainly complaining about performance issues when working on gigantic maps. So this is going to be, it wasn't really expected to be something that we're tackling this year, but because I've asked you and you've given me your honest answer, who would I be not to pay attention to that? So we are going to tackle this as a specific task this year, which means that our roadmap after you vote basically looks like that. Right now we're still in the first quarter, so we're still finishing the GM nodes and the map room templates. And once we're done with that, the next upcoming thing will be the walls and paths tool, followed by the room rework, and then followed by the performance improvements that we're going to do over summer. And in the second half of the year, we will then see where and how can we squeeze in the campaigns UI rework, whereas we are also doing all the other stuff that was planned for later this year. Which means the stairs and passages. I have a hunch that we are probably going to tackle the dynamic stairs and passages with the new walls and paths tool. I'm not sure, but I think concepts are showing that we can kind of squat two flies there. And the other one that is heavily requested, like when I go to our Discord and read the Discord feature requests and the discussions on Discord, so something that is high on priority for the second half of the year is dynamic doors and windows, allowing you to scale doors and scale windows and make them fit your map as you like them, and not just as props that you can place and that they are like, right now they're responsive to the grid size, and we're going to change that system. There are a few ideas already there how we could do that. And so this is going to be there as well. I'm not sure if we can tackle the new textures this year, but if we're not getting it done this year, it will certainly be on our roadmap for next year. Um, You're welcome, AK. It was a lot of fun playing around with the elevations last year. Last week. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, every Thursday I'm running a little stream on mapping. It's called Welcome to the Mapness, and I'm doing maps regularly, usually for my office games. But if you have a specific question, if you want me to show you something, as AK Writer did, he said, could you please show me how to do elevations? Um, then I will tackle such a question as well, and we will look at how could we do elevations, for example, in Dungeon Fog. Yeah, it does, right? Especially when you're like trying to do so many things with the update and the voting results and the new asset pack. So it was a long day today. I apologize if I'm a little bit confused. Um, right. Are there any questions in regards to our roadmap? Because I feel like this is a pretty nice result. We're happy with what you've been throwing at us. Um, there are, like I've already said, that we've also not only looking at the votes that you've placed, but also at the feedback that you've written to us, because we have, I don't know, I believe over 400 people have manually entered a feedback that they wanted to give us. And I've been reviewing that over the weekend. And I've learned two things out of that. Number one, it's still unclear to many people, it's still unclear where we draw the difference between what is Dungeon Fog and what is Deus. And again, Dungeon Fog is the company that is currently providing the online battle map editor, and Project Deus is the work in progress of the desktop application that will then contain world maps, city maps, space maps, galaxy maps, battle maps, and so on and so forth. But that is in development. So we have to, just taking it out of the survey and the answers that I got, we have to work on our way to make those things more distinctively separate. And the second thing was we will need to work on our way that we communicate updates, because I've seen a lot of feature requests in there that are already existing. Like I would say about 15, probably 20 feature requests were added as, oh, it would be so amazing if we could do this or if we could do that. And when I read that, I was like, hey, wait, you can already do that. So we are not today, because we're almost getting to the end today, but over the next couple of community streams, I will pick a few of those things that you've sent me through the survey, and we will review that, and I will show you how you can do this. Don't forget there is the help desk. So if you have any questions regarding tools, check out our help desk that is available on the Dungeon Fog website. Also, together with Guy Sklenders from How to Be a Great GM, we have created a quite extensive and almost up-to-date tutorial series on YouTube. So always keep an eye out, probably click the little bell to be notified, because we're constantly releasing new tutorials. So I know that the next one that is upcoming is going to be about the text tool and the labels. I know that there's going to be one about dynamic lighting. There you can find those informations as well. We are going to send out, or we continue to send out, a newsletter around every month that will feature updates to Dungeon Fog and Deus, obviously. There, I did it again. I meant for the online battle map editor and Project Deus. Um, and then there's the social media where we're tweeting about stuff, and as Forecaster just mentioned in the chat, Discord. Discord is a great way to communicate with us. Discord is a great way to ask feedback to the community, to ask feedback to the developers. We are all very active on Discord, so the best way to catch us is just join our Discord server. Yeah, AK Writer just asked, is there a feature to just draw a wall without an entire new room? Yes, there you go. New tool, walls and paths. Create paths that can be textured and edited after creation, and you can do whatever you like with that. So I was just last week I was sitting down writing a few concept ideas. Like for example, it should be possible to do single walls, apparently, probably railways, or maybe ropes that you can draw, rivers. We don't know. This is going to be, I would say by the end of March, we're going to sit down and tackle and conceptualize this. So the second we have finished our GM notes update, we can already dive into that and start working on it. Yes, AK, we can pretend that. So last but not least, let's talk about the upcoming contest. Next week we're going to announce it properly, but we just had the discussions with the moderator team. We sat together and we said, okay, we want to run another Discord contest with you. And the details, like the specifics, will be released next week. We will talk about that in the next upcoming DGNFOG weekly stream. But it's going to be about you showing us what you can do with all the new tools that have found their way into V5, because V5 has been released before Christmas. So now it's a nice way to end this quarter with a contest where you take the new shapes tool, the new brush tool, the text tool, the map decorations, the new lighting features, the duplicate room features, all those things that are in there, and you take an old map of yours and rework it, or you create a completely new map. It's going to be a community vote, which means everyone is allowed to submit into our Discord channels, and then the Discord community will vote on the winners. There will be nice prizes. I will be announcing them next week, and I think this is a good way to show what you can do with the new tools and impress us all. And I'm very much looking forward to see what you're going to do with it, because it's like playing around with those tools is amazing. But Guy has taught me, and a few of you, I've seen the maps that you've made public, have also taught me that I am far away from being the master of the online battle map tool anymore. There are users out there who are so sophisticated, and I can't wait to see what you're submitting. All right. Any last questions? Because if not, I would say thank you very much. Have a great evening, or a great day, or a great afternoon, or a great morning. I hope I will see you. Wait, I need to check announcements. Check announcements. So, before I sign off, before I say goodnight, keep an eye out for World Anvil. They have a flash challenge that is live right now, where you can win original art. And Keora has released his new creatures pack. It's a token pack, That is goblins. Amazing little green, creepy, funny, red and blue as I see goblins. So just a shout out to the Circle of World Builder partners that we're working together with. Have a look at what they are doing. There's a flash challenge on World Anvil where you can win prizes, and there is a new Goblin Creatures pack on Chaora.com. And now I say thank you very much and happy map making. Bye!